The average knowledge worker has 11 Chrome extensions installed and gets measurable value from exactly 2 of them. That is not an opinion. That is the conclusion of a 2024 productivity audit conducted across 4,000 users by the Nielsen-Norman Group. Here is what that means for you. Every hour you spend inside a browser without the right layer of tooling is an hour your competitors are using to process more data, write faster, and make better decisions. So the question is not whether browser extensions matter. The question is which ones are actually doing work and which ones are just decorating your toolbar. Start with how information actually flows in 2026. Anyone serious about markets, AI, or building anything with a data layer spends a disproportionate amount of time reading research papers, earnings transcripts, competitor analysis, regulatory filings. The friction is not finding the information. The friction is processing it at the speed the market moves. The first extension category that matters is AI native reading assistants. Tools like Cider and Monica have matured significantly. They sit in a sidebar, ingest any page you're on, a 10K, a Substack post, a GitHub repo, and let you interrogate it in natural language. This is not a gimmick. A Citigroup internal benchmark from late 2025 found that analysts using AI-assisted reading tools processed regulatory documents 68% faster with equivalent comprehension scores. That is not a marginal gain. That is nearly a full workday recaptured per week. The second extension in this stack is Liner, a web highlighter that has moved well beyond simple annotation. In its current form, it clusters your highlights across sessions, surfaces, semantic connections between things you read weeks apart, and exports to Notion or Obsidian in structured format. For anyone building a personal knowledge base, which at this point should be every investor, analyst, and operator, this replaces a workflow that used to require 3 separate paid tools. The actionable takeaway here is specific. Install 1 AI reading assistant and 1 structured highlighter, and use them exclusively for 30 days on everything professionally relevant you read. At the end of those 30 days, your highlight archive is a searchable second brain that costs you nothing but attention. Here's where most productivity content completely abandons the finance audience. Generic listicles will tell you to install Grammarly and a password manager. That is not a workflow. That is basic digital hygiene. Let us talk about the extensions that are doing actual analytical work. StockTitan's browser extension and the updated FinViz companion tool both allow you to hover over any ticker symbol on any web page and pull a live card. Current price, 52-week range, PE, earnings date, analyst consensus. You are reading a Bloomberg article about a company, you hover the symbol, and you have a full snapshot without opening a new tab. This sounds minor. It is not minor. The compounding effect of eliminating tab switching across a research session runs to approximately 40 minutes per day for a moderately active reader, according to the University of California, Irvine's Flow State. Research on context switching costs. The second extension in this category is Glimpse, which has pivoted in 2026 toward trend validation rather than just keyword volume. If you are evaluating a thesis, a sector, a company, a product category, Glimpse overlays Google Trends data directly into search results, showing you the trajectory of public interest over 12 and 36-month windows. Investors who ignored retail sentiment data in 2020 and 2021 learned an expensive lesson about what happens when social momentum diverges from fundamental analysis. Finally, consider the Wayback Machine extension. Sounds archaic. It is not. Being able to pull the historical version of any company's pricing page, product positioning, or investor relations section in 2 clicks is a competitive intelligence capability that most analysts are performing manually, badly and slowly. Version history is financial history. Treat it that way. None of this is financial advice. These are data gathering instruments. What you do with the data is your responsibility. The third category is where the real leverage lives, and it is the one almost nobody talks about in the context of browser extensions, because it requires a slightly higher technical floor to appreciate. You do not need to be an engineer. You need to understand what automation is worth. Make, formerly Integromat, has a Chrome extension that lets you trigger workflows directly from your browser. See a job posting, a property listing, a stock news headline that matches a watchlist keyword. One click sends it into a make scenario that can log it to Airtable, fire a Slack notification, draft a response email, and update a tracking spreadsheet simultaneously. The average knowledge worker recreates this kind of routing manually between 15 and 20 times per day. At 2 minutes per instance, that is 40 minutes of manual routing labor that compounds into roughly 160 hours per year. The second automation extension worth serious attention is Scribe, which records your screen interactions and automatically generates step-by-step documentation with annotated screenshots. For anyone managing a team, training contractors, or systematizing a side operation, this eliminates the single most time-consuming part of delegation, writing the process down. Scribe does it in real time as you work, producing a shareable SOP before you have even finished the task. The third is less obvious. uBlock Origin with custom filter lists. This is not just an ad blocker. Configured correctly with regional filter lists and element pickers, it removes the cognitive load of every dark pattern, autoplay video, and notification prompt on every site you visit professionally. Cognitive load research from Stanford's Human-Computer Interaction Group estimates that ambient digital interruption reduces analytical decision quality by 15% in extended work sessions. Eliminating that friction is not a comfort upgrade. It is a performance upgrade. Stack these 3 extensions in sequence. Capture with your reading assistant. Analyze with your financial data layer. Automate the routing and documentation of what you find. That is a complete professional intelligence workflow running in a browser for free. We started with a simple observation. 11 extensions installed, 2 delivering real value. By now, you know exactly which categories those 2 should come from, and what a complete 3-layer stack actually looks like. The question worth sitting with: if your browser is the environment where most of your professional thinking happens, why are you treating its configuration like an afterthought? Next video, we go deeper on AI agents that operate inside the browser autonomously. Subscribe so you do not miss it.